Hi, I'm going to do the dog. So, sign of the dog, the Chinese zodiac. It is the 11th sign in the lunar cycle. We're going to go all over all the elements, elemental dogs. Starting with metal dog. This type of dog can be unwavering in his convictions and highly critical of every infraction of the law according to his interpretation. However, his principles are of the highest, and fundamentally he is noble and charitable. He will give himself to a lifetime of selfless, fundamentally he is notable and charitable. However, let's see. Oh, I know. I lost my spot. He will give himself to a lifetime of selfless dedication if he finds an object or cause worthy of his devotion. Yet he can be ruthless even when aroused and will pursue his enemies until they are annihilated. However, at home, he is loving and gentle and at times overprotective. The metal element combined with his lunar sign, which is also governed by metal, produces a double metal sign. And the Tibetans call it this combination, it's an iron dog combination. So it's a very powerful combo. It's like a double fix, right? But it can go either way. It can either bring a lot of like prosperity and be very positive, or it could bring a lot of negative and downfall. So it can go either way with that. Okay, so the stern and principled metal dog will exercise strong mental discipline over himself and take things very seriously, especially when they concern the affairs of his heart or his country. His loyalty is unquestionable and he has strong political views. Never one to be labeled as indecisive, he will pick a side and never desert his affiliation. Consequently, even though he hates injustice and foul play, this type of dog can resort to extreme measures when he insists that others subscribe to his views. The water dog. This intuitive type of dog will be difficult to lead astray. He could be very attractive or a striking beauty if a female. Water gives him more reflective qualities, and he will be sympathetic even to the views of the opposition. However, despite his pleasant personality and democratic stance, he does not always establish strong personal bonds with those close to him and is often too liberal when he should be more firm. More easygoing than the other dogs, he will tend to be lenient with himself as well as with others, often indulging in self-gratification and adventurous sprees. Because of his strong temperament will be toned down by the water element, this dog is able to contain his emotions to an admirable degree. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Admirable degree, and will present a calm and charming exterior. He projects an impressive public image. I just need to readjust myself really quick. Ugh. Okay. Where did I leave off? Yes, okay. Still on the water dog. A good counselor, fair judge, and legal-minded operator, the water dog will be fluid in expressing himself, using psychological approaches that are hard to reject or refute. He is also fated to have a large circle of friends, and his company will be much sought after. The wood dog. This is an enchanting, warm-hearted, and even-tempered sort of dog, who, in spite of his candor and wariness of strangers, will form close and lasting relationships with those he chooses to befriend and love. Honest, considerate, and well-liked, this dog seeks intellectual stimulation and will work hard to develop himself. Wood gives him a more stable and generous nature, and he will seek growth, balance, and beauty in his environment. He will also be attracted to money and success, but will preserve himself from too much materialism. With an aptitude for dealing with vast numbers of people from all walks of life, he or she will act with maturity and common sense. The popular wood dog will gravitate toward refinement and social grace despite his hidden assertive qualities. Energetic and cooperative, he will like to deal in partnerships or ally himself with the powerful. He is basically group oriented and will be eager to please as many of his associates as possible. Thus, this type of dog can sometimes be held back because he refuses to move without the sanction and backing of others. He must learn independence, even if it means rocking the boat on occasion. The fire dog. This is a highly dramatic and attractive dog that will be thrown into the limelight by his alluring yet friendly personality. He will be defiant and rebellious when forced to do something against his will, but he will be very popular with the opposite sex. Although he may be the life of the party type, he is the lights. He is careful to practice what he preaches and will not be spoiled by success and fortune. Fire makes him very fierce when attacked, and he will only make threats he can carry out. This dog's bite is just as strong as his bark. The buoyant and self-assured fire dog has great magnetic charm and can convince others to follow his lead. His independent spirit and courage prevents him from being afraid of getting involved with others. He will constantly thrill to new experiences and adventures, but he needs a strong, shiny example to pattern himself after. He will relate better to people older than himself, those from whom he can learn a great deal, or can depend on to bring stability into his life. Fire makes him or her more creative and more pure in expression. He will be charged with super willpower and a natural honesty that people find hard to resist. His outgoing character, combined with the dog's basic faith in idealism, will help him to succeed in ambitious endeavors and overcome great barriers. The Earth Dog. This dog will be an impartial dispenser of sound advice and justice. An efficient and constructive thinker, he moves slowly and to good purpose. He is faithful to his beliefs, but will bow to majority rule. Vigilant and careful, he will appreciate the proper use of money and power and have a fixed scale of values from which he seldom deviates. Quiet, kind-hearted, but secretive, he will understand how to inspire others and construct them wisely. Yet because of his high moral standards and unfailing idealism, he tends to overperform and may demand excessive dedication and loyalty from others. A good fighter and an equally good survivor, this dog is practical and less sentimental. The realistic Earth Dog will value his individualism and self-respect and will speak without reserve straight from his heart. He will not abuse powers bestowed on him and will delegate duties with a keen eye as to other people's potentials. He is never totally crushed by defeat nor overconfident in victory. I can't believe my lights turned off. Oh well, hopefully it won't mess up the video. So now we go to compatibilities. The dog and the rat. The dog is friendly but pragmatic. The rat has great respect for the dog, who, because he has a different set of priorities, does not contest the rat in a struggle for dominance. Both know their limits and territories. They do not have any serious differences in outlook and will work together as a team when necessary. However, should the rat clash with the horse, the dog will not take the rat's side, since most dogs will vote for the horse or tiger every time. The ox and the dog. The ox and the dog could do well together if they move in the same circles and have the same goals. Trouble is that they may not have great sympathy or attraction for one another. The dog is warm, likable, and idealistic at the same time. The ox is stern, determined, and loyal only to his ideals. He can be uncompromising. These two could go their separate ways if the chemistry is not right. The congenial dog may find the ox too rigid and uncooperative unless they both champion the same cause. In a fight for justice or freedom, this could be a great duo. Otherwise, they move at different speeds. The tiger and the dog. The dog and the tiger make good companions. Each animal can rely on the other for support through even the most difficult of times. The dog understands the tiger's emotional ways and knows when to give him space and when to give him help. The tiger respects the dog's fair and balanced mind and will regularly seek him out for advice. The dog and the tiger will find it easy to be honest with one another, even if their opinions are unpopular. As protectors, both animals understand that it takes courage to say what is in your heart. The rabbit and the dog. The dog and the rabbit will have a compatible and rewarding union since they can establish trust and understanding with little effort. Both will do their share to make the relationship workable or else peacefully call a truce and make a graceful exit. When these two join forces, they will find harmony and happiness if neither is overly aggressive or demanding. The rabbit is not combative, but is a bit more selfish than the dog is. The dog will rely on the rabbit's intelligent advice and his ability to take the middle of the road and avoid stress or conflict. The dog and the dragon. The dog and the dragon have difficulty getting along because neither one likes to compromise their behaviors. The dragon is a showman who enjoys thinking out of the box and exaggerating a tale or two. The dog is the ultimate realist who prefers to speak honestly rather than speculate. Therefore, trust does not come easily between the dragon and the dog. When these two are together, the dog refuses to stroke the dragon's ego, and the dragon sees the dog's conservative attitude as a wet blanket. The two need compatible ascendants to give them common ground. The snake and the dog. The snake and the dog have mutual respect for each other and do not want confrontation if they can avoid it. They will be compatible and amicable to a degree, as the dog is trustworthy and the snake's ambitiousness could do the dog some good. The dog will be loyal so long as the snake is persevering, steadfast, and faithful. The snake is able to imbue the dog with his ideas and philosophies and will share the dog's idealistic outlook on life. The dog is not overly possessive and will understand the snake's need for privacy when the snake becomes introspective or secretive. The horse and the dog. The horse and the dog make a very compatible match. The horse enjoys the dog's friendship because his opinions are honest. The dog respects the horse's individualism and delights in hearing his tales of adventure. These two will find a long-term match in every area of life and can depend on each other through the many stages of their lives. Each will look to each other for advice, but with the dog being the more likely to take the horse's words into consideration. The horse tends to make decisions by intuition. The sheep and the dog. The sheep and the dog may have few things in common, but they do share a mutual goodwill that keeps each other on his side of the fence. They work at different speeds and have different objectives. If he is able to do his duty and fulfill his responsibilities, the dog couldn't care less whether anyone likes him. The sheep needs consensus and approval before he can act. He's always so worried about hurting others that sometimes he becomes a fence sitter. The dog cannot and will not tolerate disloyalty and can be quite stern when the sheep fails to promptly decide whom to support. The sheep has difficulty taking sides and may want to please everyone, an attitude the dog cannot comprehend. The monkey and the dog. There should be no large challenges for dominance between the monkey and the dog. They are guided by different priorities and values, but tend to stay out of each other's way if they have conflicting interests. The monkey knows better than to pull the dog's tail, since the dog is unrelenting once he is aroused. And aroused as in, like, I'll pop off on your ass, bitch type, not like anger aroused. Okay. The dog can be good-natured when it comes to the monkey's tricks and may not take the monkey too seriously if he can benefit from the monkey's expertise. They will enjoy friendly to warm relations if they share mutual goals and interests. However, the dog is devoted to the tiger and could be defensive and protective should the monkey try to provoke the tiger. Come on. The rooster and the dog. The rooster may worry the poor dog, with his high-flying acts of daring and nonsensical ideas. The dog would like to be a loyal friend and supporter of the rooster's splendid ideals, but at times he finds it hard to understand the chicken's propensity for controversy. However, the dog can be patient and understanding if the rooster proves his motives are above board and he has everyone's interests at heart. Once the dog is convinced the rooster's intentions are honorable, he will be accepting of his eccentric ways. Dog and dog. Dogs are quite compatible unless they have strong conflicting ascendants. They have congenial, reasonable outlooks and do not tend to look for fights once they have established their positions. Dogs can work together in a spirit of cooperation once they are aware of their respective responsibilities. No doubt they will snap at each other and be argumentative if they feel threatened, but common goals or enemies can keep them vigilant and united. However, if one has a dominant dragon ascendant or an incompatible sheep ascendant, there could be trouble. Okay, last one. The boar, the dog and the boar. The boar is sincere and helpful by nature and will have no serious personality clashes with the dog. Relationships will be acceptable and agreeable if the pig displays moderation and modesty and does not impose on the dog's sense of propriety. The dog could be critical of the boar's lifestyle and values and tend to lecture the pig or try to make him less indulgent. The thick-skinned boar will not readily take the dog's well-meaning advice, but on the other hand, he will not be offended or discouraged either. These two will get along moderately, especially if they share the same loyalties. And that's what I have for the dog. Peace out.